What's up guys, I'm the Drink Pro and today I'm drinking coffee from Ethiopia. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again today. Looks a little bit different, or a lot different. I'm going to try something I haven't typically been doing with the show. Usually I've just been doing whiskeys or liquors, but today I've got a special Ethiopian coffee. Now this is from Goldberry Roasting Company in Ohio. A good friend of mine sent me this. Shout out to Nate for the sample of coffee. We are going to talk a little bit about coffee because I think Drink Pro can't just be something about alcohol. There are different kinds of drinks out there, and even if you are just using it for a mixer with alcohol, if you want to make an Irish coffee or something like that, it's important to understand what makes good coffee and the qualities you want to look for. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that people make in buying coffee is that they're just unfamiliar with what they want. There's a lot of different roasting varieties in coffee, a lot of lighter roasts versus darker roasts, and a lot of that is personal flavor preference, but there is an important reason to buy lighter roast. Now this coffee is from, I believe it's called Djimma, D-J-I-M-M-A. It's Western Ethiopia, and if you can see, that is an incredibly light roast. Part of the reason is a lot of coffees that are single origin or are, being sought after because of their high quality are roasted more lightly. The reasoning behind that is lighter roasts actually bring out more of the natural coffee flavors. When you roast a coffee, you bring out a lot of caramelization and sugar, and you can create some wonderful, beautiful flavors, but it's much more forgiving. So if you have a darker roast, you can use a much lower quality bean and still get good flavors because of the forgiveness of the process. A light roast will not forgive you anything. So it's really important to have high quality beans. So typically higher quality beans are going to have lighter roasts. Again, it does not mean you shouldn't enjoy a dark roast if you like one. I will also say I'm committing a bit of a cardinal sin here by using a French press. But there's a specific reason I'm using a French press. Coffee is very acidic, and actually one of the things people look for when they're doing professional coffee tastings is the acidic qualities of the coffee. Professional coffee tasters will generally use a pour-over method by first rinsing a filter to remove any possible flavors of paper, adding a very specific number of grams of coffee beans, and then pouring water over in multiple trips. This typically allows the coffee to bloom, and you get a lot more of the wonderful notes from the coffee scent and flavor. So let's go ahead and pour this up. I'm excited to drink this. Now I will also say, unfortunately I've had this coffee for a bit longer than I probably should. I'm spilling a little. Now I will say I've had this coffee a bit longer than I probably should to be doing a formal tasting. Coffee beans are best right after they're roasted. You want them to be within 2 weeks of roasting probably, and I'm sure this is a bit closer to 3 or 4 weeks. But like I said, because of some of the methodology I'm using here, I don't expect to get the full breadth of flavors anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. But boy, it smells very different than your standard commercial grade coffee. I'm getting lots of bursting with citrus and berry. The nose on this thing really does smell like a totally different product. It's got a slight nuttiness, a lot of acidity, maybe even some blueberry in there. Now the package says blueberry, peach, and strawberry. I definitely said I got the blueberry. I definitely can see the strawberry as well. It's a very berry quality. I don't know if I smell the peach or not. Now, I'm going to go a little bit out of the ordinary here for my typical tasting and do something that's more common with professional coffee tasters. I've got myself a cupping spoon. Now, the reason you use a cupping spoon when you're doing coffee tasting is it allows you to aerate more of the coffee more quickly. Now again, this is not typically how you're going to enjoy coffee in the morning, and it is the morning for me right now, but I figured I'd make this video, what the hell. But it allows you to really capture more of the brightness of this coffee. Also, by the way, when you're making this kind of coffee, don't use boiling water. You want it to be about 5 degrees less than boiling. Here we go. Wow. It's a totally different experience than your average coffee, guys. It's very wonderful. Very bright, very light and delicate. I get a lot of nuttiness. That bitterness you get from a lot of coffee is only barely there in the back end, and that's much more like a nutty bitterness, like you're eating walnuts or something. Um, definitely a unique product. Man, the blueberry really shows up for me. I can see the strawberry. I still don't really get the peach. That could be because, like I said, this is a product that's been further away from roast than it probably should have been. And it's because I'm not using the methodology to bring the most of the flavors out. But it's just a fantastic, sweet berry notes, slight honey even perhaps. Uh, oh man, and I love the rich nuttiness in the back of the palate. That's not something I typically get from coffees. Usually I'm drinking something that's going to give me a lot more of the sweet maltiness of a roast, or it'll be a little bit more bitter because I'm not spending enough money on good coffee. But this is really something special. I even get like a slight citrus component in the mid palate, and then that aftertaste really leaves you wanting more. It lingers in the way of like a good whiskey has that woodiness in the finish. This is that kind of nuttiness on the finish, and it just sticks around with you. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of this cup of coffee. I hope you guys will consider what kind of coffee you're buying in the mornings. Not just for your day-to-day mornings, but if I wanted to Irish this up a little bit, this would be a fantastic expression. It's gonna do something totally different. Because of the sweetness and the fruitiness and the nuttiness, you can mix totally different things with this coffee than you would ever be able to mix with a commercial grade coffee and get a very wonderful, unique coffee. If you just want a wonderful cup of interesting, delicious coffee in the mornings, definitely recommend getting some single origin coffee, some uniquely roasted coffee. Get something that's really going to have a specific, unique flavor. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I got work to do. Cheers.